So the Rialto Report is I would say it's an initiative, it's a collection, it's an effort to archive the memories of people who were involved in the golden age of adult film from back in the day when they were actually performing, and also when we talk to them now, how they look back on it.
And how do you select your subjects?
A portion of them got into the films thinking, I'll do this film, nobody's ever gonna see it, you know, it'll play in Times Square for a raincoat crowd, and then it'll disappear. And so the fact that these movies are still around all these years later, I think, you know, for many people is surprising. But because they're still around, we can track people down. It's not easy, but I will say particularly Ashley is amazing at tracking people down, sort of putting the pieces together to find them.
I found that poster for that movie was on sale on eBay. So I went on eBay and bid to get it, thinking I'm going to repay my teenage fantasy by getting that original poster. And I got into a bidding war with somebody who kept bidding me up. The poster should have gone for like 40, 50 bucks. That's what they were all going for. And this one went right up to 300 bucks. And I was like so annoyed this person was just bidding me up. Anyway, I made sure that I won it, kicked their butt. And then I got an email from somebody saying, I'm the person who was bidding against you. And I really want that poster because I starred in the movie. I am the female lead of the movie. And I was just like, no, you're not. And she was like, yes, I am. And I told her the story. And she said, meet me in 5 minutes in this bar in New York. And so I went down, and 30 years after that film was made, I met up with the person who, in my mind, I'd been carrying as being the most beautiful woman in the world, the most perfect woman in the world. So that kind of started me. And ever since then, and I met her, and she was so not what I expected a porn star to be like. I mean, she was
who is that?
C.J. Lang. So yes, so she was C.J. Lang, who was one of the greatest cult actresses of 1970s New York porn. She was very kinky, very far out. She did some of the wildest scenes. And then she just disappeared, and no one knew what her real name was, no one knew where she'd been. So she and I became close friends, and she's still a friend to this day. And she kind of opened up this idea that there must be hundreds of people out there like this who have done a career in this taboo area, but then have disappeared forever. I thought, I need to find out the story of why people did it and what happened to them. And so really that's what started.
We have the website, the Rialto Report website, and the podcast, and we put a lot of those stories out there, but we've also captured hundreds more that haven't been shared. And we've had people who've said, it was the best time of my life, I wish I could be back there. And we have other people who said, like, it was a summer job for a blip on my life screen, and it's so weird to me that you're sitting here. All that matters to me is how they felt about it. I grew up in New York, I'm from New York. So I remember being a kid and kind of holding my mom's hand and traipsing through Times Square and being like, what the heck is this? It's awesome. I think when Ashley and I met, and you know, we were interested in capturing something about the change in New York, and Ashley sort of already had this interest in Times Square. He grew up in Italy, where you know some of these films would sometimes make it into the cinema. So at the impressionable young age, he would see some of these films and be like, who are these people in this magical city, you know, doing these things that when you're a hormonal preteen, I think, are very impressionable. And so it just seemed a natural way to start exploring something about what's been lost in New York. You know, this idea that you could be an off-Broadway actor who could make 50 bucks for a loop and find a way to be artistically free and live here. I feel so lucky to be able to help preserve these memories, because these aren't masterpieces of art all the time. You know, I know some fans are like, they were the best movies that ever made. A lot of them are not the best movies that were ever made. But they were important movies, and they led to some really big changes and huge industry, you know, that I don't think has been paid the homage and the respect that it deserves.